Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. This is thanks to actually a few people, because my friend Mike, OCP, had sent me this on DVD-R, and then another good guy, Classic Rocker, has sent this to me on DVD-R as well. The richest city in America, shut down, ripped off, blown up. And this is actually the cover that was on the VHS. And it's a DVD-R cover, and actually has on the menu screen Epic by Faith No More, which is pretty cool. But then Till from Germany really surprised me, because this Taking of Beverly Hills actually got an official release on DVD and Blu-ray just overseas. And over there they call it Boomer. Uberfall of Hollywood. It's a 1991 film with Ken Wahl, of course, as you can see there. But not in the US. This film is not released on DVD or Blu-ray or anything in the US, but it is overseas. Thankfully, I do have a region-free DVD player, so I could play this. But that's nice. I never thought I'd see the day that I actually have an official DVD of the Taking of Beverly Hills. And it is in English, if you're wondering, even though you see these different language. It is in English. And this is going to sound so stupid, but I was even impressed. Oh my god, I got to see the original trailer for this film. Because for the longest time, all you can find on YouTube is the VHS trailer. Like, all you can find is the trailer for the videotape. But this actually has the actual theatrical trailer for the Taking of Beverly Hills. So it was kind of cool to see that. Because this is a film I grew up with. You know, I grew up with the Taking of Beverly Hills. And I know it is a 4.7 out of 10 IMDb. It's directed by Sidney J. Furie, same guy who directed Iron Eagle. Actually, a couple of them, I think. He also directed Superman 4, which sucked ass. Iron Eagle, I haven't seen any of those movies for the longest time. In fact, I think I've only seen the first one, and that was forever ago. I haven't seen Iron Eagle in forever. But this guy's been directing films since the 60s, Sidney J. Furie. I mean, The Boys and Company, C in 78, The Entity in 82, Superman 4, a couple of Rodney Dangerfield films, Ladybugs and My First Wives. And he's still directing. He's directed stuff like Hollow Point, which if that's the one I'm thinking of, I remember liking. He's still directing. I know he did some with Dolph Lundgren, Detention, which is in Direct Action, which a lot of fun action in Direct Action. Actually, is that the one I'm thinking of? Direct Action. I think it is. Yeah, it is. I had some fun with Direct Action. I think it has a lot of action. Hence Direct Action. Just skip the opening credits. Just the opening credits give away everything in the movie. And it has really shitty music and shitty color palettes. So you skip the opening montage credits, you'll enjoy the movie. Or at least I did. But anyway, The Taking of Beverly Hills, directed by Sidney J. Furie, which I don't know if this was the film he had the biggest budget on, because again, he did Superman 4, but it might have been because Superman 4 was canon, so this wasn't a canon film. So this might have been, for all I know, this could have been Sidney J. Furie's biggest budget, and it didn't do anything. I remember reading somewhere that Orion Pictures was going to release this in the summer, and then the bankruptcy, and then another company got it. I know for on my VHS tape, which is somewhere, it says New Line Cinema, but then I remember seeing like Columbia or something had released this. But I remember on the VHS tape, which I can't find, it's over there, it said New Line Cinema. And in fact, if you go on YouTube, you see the video trailer or whatever, it'll say New Line Cinema. So I don't know who owns this. My guess is the reason this didn't get on DVD in the US is because of the soundtrack. And they figure, well, we gotta pay for some of these songs because you have Epic by Faith No More. You have a Janet Jackson song. Da 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 da. I forgot the fucking words. Cat Stretch, something like that. Black Cat, I forgot the fucking name of the song. But Janet Jackson song. You got Unbelievable by EMF, I believe is the name of the band. I could be wrong again. Oh well, fuck it. You got the internet at the tip of your fingers. It takes 2 seconds for you to find it. It's unbelievable with the Andrew Dice Clay, a couple words of him in the song. You got a couple of soundtrack songs that is like, hey, I recognize that song. So it's kind of like maybe that's the reason, for example, Rad. That's another one because of the soundtrack, and it's like, that sucks, but it's how it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason. But overseas, sometimes they work that out better. But it stars Ken Wahl, which I know he was famous for the TV show Wise Guy, which I didn't see too much of that TV show Wise Guy. I reviewed a film he was in called The Wanderers, which I remember liking. He was there. I also reviewed a film he was in called The Soldier. Thanks to Classic Rocker for sending me that. I remember not minding. I didn't mind it. I could watch it. He did a few other films. I think there was a film from 1980 called Running Scared with Judge Reinhold and Ken Wahl. Never seen that. There's one called Treasure of the Yankee Zephyr, if I said it right. That has like Lizzie Ann Warren and Donald Pleasance and George Peppard from the A-Team in it. Let's see. I think he was in the Dirty Dozen, one of the Dirty Dozen sequels. It was a TV movie. He did a TV movie called The Gladiator, which I think was kind of a vigilante type film, but it was a TV movie. I know he did one that looked pretty bad. My friend Mike reviewed it, Omega Syndrome. It looked really a pile of nothing. And sad to say, I think from what I understand, he got hurt and painkillers or such, and kind of took him out of the movie business, because the last thing he did was the TV movie A Wise Guy in 1996. And I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know what happened, if he's doing anything now, I have no idea. Which is too bad, because I didn't mind Ken Wahl and the stuff I seen him in. Is he the best actor in the world? No, but I liked him in this film. I liked him as Boomer, the character of Boomer Hayes, who's a quarterback. He's a quarterback. Bad guys are going to fucking steal Beverly Hills, and he ain't having that. He ain't having that shit. He's like, fuck this. I'm trying to remember the character's name of... Because there's another guy in it played by Matt Frewer. Of course, Matt Frewer, he was in Max Headroom. I think that's where most people remember him from. He was in Lawnmower Man 2, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I remember him most from this movie, to be honest. Same with Ken Wahl. Like, this is a film I grew up with. Yeah, Ken Wahl was Boomer Hayes, and Matt Frewer was Ed Kelvin. Also has Harley Jane Kozak, who I remember from Arachnophobia. And she was actually in a slasher film that I haven't seen, but I've heard of, the original House on Sorority Row. But I remember the most from Arachnophobia in this. Robert Davi is the bad guy. Robert Davi, of course, from License to Kill, Maniac Cop 2 and 3, Expendables 3, this tiny role that he has nothing to do and dies. Yeah, this guy who's also one of the bad guys, Lee Ving, which I didn't realize. This guy was actually a singer for the punk rock band Fear. And when you look at him in the film, I'm like, this was a singer in a punk rock band? He plays a character like Varney, and he just, not something I would recognize. Then there's another guy played by Branscombe Richmond, and then he's one of those character actors that when you see him, it's like, I've seen this guy before. I've seen him on Action Jackson, or Commando, or Hard to Kill, or other action films. Other action films of the 80s and 90s, usually in bit parts. It's like, I know I've seen this guy before. I know I have. But the Taking of Beverly Hills, I did grow up with, because it's not too long of a film, and a lot of good practical action set pieces in this flick for a film no one really talks about or remembers. And granted, I'm sure you could look at this film and go, man, this is fucking unrealistic. Because the whole deal is you have a bunch of ex-cops who get this toxic truck of toxic chemicals to spill out so that they can put these barricades up in Beverly Hills. They've locked the other real cops because they're trying to get this gear on. They've locked them in the door. And it's like this sort of steel type door. And everyone got all these things on their wrists so that they could get into the Beverly Hills homes and steal all the shit. And that's why it's called the Taking of Beverly Hills. Well, this is called Boomer, but the Taking of Beverly Hills. And the quarterback is there, and he's, what the fuck's going on? And then Matt Frewer is kind of helping the bad guys, but one of them kills someone and try to kill Ken Wahl. Matt Frewer's like, wait a minute, no, this shouldn't be killing people. He helps out Ken Wahl. And most of the film is them being chased around, fucking tank coming out, blowing up houses, smashing through walls, giving Molotov cocktails, throwing it on cars, blowing up. Music of Faith No More, epic song by Faith No More, and Janet Jackson songs. Bad guys with fucking flamethrowers shooting out of a car while our two heroes are in a car and they're trying to throw Molotov cocktails. And big practical explosions, houses, real houses being blown up to shit. I'm like, alright, that's some fun times. And he's a quarterback and he has some fun lines. I'm through with this shit, I'm tired of playing defense. Or he tricks this asshole in the tank to crash into this like swimming pool. Touchdown, asshole! I don't know why I keep moving like I can't stop moving. Because I get excited thinking about it. And it's not a perfect film. I'll say it's not a perfect film. And I'm going to go more in depth in the film because fuck it. It's the Taking of Beverly Hills. No one's going to do an in-depth review. Well, actually, that's not true. My friend Mike did an in-depth review. There's a few parts. Why not me? I'm a big fan of this film. I grew up with it, so I don't care how long it goes. Fuck it. It's the Taking of Beverly Hills. It deserves it for me. Because it's not that bad of a film. It's not perfect. I've seen better action films, but I think it's a fun, entertaining film. But it does have its problems, which I'll get into. But pretty much, I mean, it sets up at a party. Ken Wahl's a quarterback. Robert Davi kind of owns everything. And they don't really like each other. Harley Jane Kozak. Ken Wahl puts the moves on her. And she's like, you know what, I'm not that easy. And he charms her. Go back and, you know, they spend time together. Just talking with each other. You realize that Ken Wahl's a good guy. He may be a jock, but he's actually a good guy. And during all this time, these ex-cops, they get together. Like I said, you know, they do all this shit. Like I said before, stealing Beverly Hills. I thought Matt Frewer had some fun lines. Like the leaving character, the Varney character. He says something like, "I'm gonna drill you where you stand." And Matt Frewer's like, is that a gay thing, sir? But yeah, just the way Matt Frewer said that. And he, before everything goes to shit, there's like a couple making out. And Matt Frewer stops him and is like, "Are you wearing a condom, sir? Just so you know, this is a safe sex zone, so you have to get out of here." And he said it with a straight face. I thought that was a couple of funny lines. I thought Matt Frewer was pretty good in the film. And it's my favorite role with him in it. I was never a big Max Headroom guy, but I thought he was good in that role. I don't mind Max Headroom, but wasn't really big on it. But by that time, Ken Wahl was charming Harley Jane Kozak into the bathtub with bubbles, and he even has this football thing that, you know, when it pops up and you're trying to push against it, and he names it Elzado. And I'm like, is that a reference to Lyle Elzado, who was in a couple movies like Destroyer? Which I believe he was a football player as well. So is that named Elzado for Lyle Elzado? Or is that usually how it's named? I'm not sure. That'd be a question I'd like to ask. I don't know to who, because no one's going to talk about this movie, but it's the question I'd ask. Like I said, they're evacuating people. They evac her because she's out to get something. She says, "Boomer, Boomer." And they assume that it's the name of a dog or for whatever, which makes sense. I mean, Boomer does sound like the name of a dog. And then they're ripping off Beverly Hills. And you have that song with that has Andrew Dice Clay a little bit in the dialogue. You're unbelievable. Oh! Anyway. They pretty much, they try to kill Ken Wahl. Matt Frewer helps out. Ken Wahl's beating the shit out of them. Gets the Elzado theme, which ratchets up, knocks a guy out the fucking window. Matt Frewer kills someone. shoots him, helping out Ken Wahl. And I think this film is rated R. It is rated R, but really enough, there are a few times, here's one little problem with the film. Sometimes it seems like the dialogue is edited. Like it was edited for TV. It's not just this. I checked with the other versions as well. It seems like for example, when after that scene, he says something like freaking, and like he looks through the, through the door, the little hole, and he's talking about how it would take a barricade to get through this, and Matt Frewer's like, well, there's something I need to tell you, and that's that the bad guys have this SWAT tank. You know the tank in Die Hard that they try to go up the stairs and they blow up? Oh, the quarterback is toast! That kind of tank? Well, the bad guys have that, and they ram right through the damn door. But when Ken Wahl sees it, he's like, oh boy, or oh what, or like he says, I forget what the actual dialogue, but you could tell it's off kilter, kind of like you would hear on a TV version. And there, once in a while, you hear that. Like for example, later on when they're in a car and Ken Wahl is looking in the back seat at these bottles, and Matt Frewer's in the front seat, and it talks about how he would like to be rich because he's done this, done that, and family friendly or fabulous Beverly Hills. So I forget what the actual dialogue, but I swear he would have said fucking and fucking Beverly Hills, but like it was almost like a TV version. Like I don't know, you can tell that the audio goes a little bit off, just a little bit, and the line isn't, lips don't match. And what's weird because Harley Jane Kozak says a fuck at the end of the movie, but it's almost like they try to edit it. Maybe they wanted a PG-13. I don't know, but it's R-rated, and that's probably because of violence. But you don't see like lots of blood and stuff, so I don't know if they tried to get a PG-13, so they did that. But since they got R, because this film was going to be released, and then they got bankrupt, and the studio took this and just released it out there like a couple theaters, said whatever the fuck. That's what it couldn't make much money. It was only released in a couple theaters. It cost like, I don't know, 15, 20 million, and it only made like 900,000. Because they just threw it on like a couple theaters, like fuck it. But I swear there's some bits some dialogue, little bits that are like edited for TV almost. I'm like, what's the deal with that? I don't get that. But that's about 30-some minutes in. And the first 30-some minutes, some people might feel a little bit slow, but I like Ken Wahl, I like Matt Frewer, I don't mind Robert Davi, Harley Jane Kozak, I don't mind the cast, and it's a building up to it. But why I like this film is when you stick with Ken Wahl and Matt Frewer, it's just a load of fun. Like I said, it crashes through, the two guys almost get pummeled by all this debris, they get out of there. Literally, this tank is blowing up fucking houses right behind our two heroes. Blowing up big chunks of houses, crashing through walls, telephone lines going down, them being chased through the streets of Beverly Hills, all practical, looking real, because it was real, because you can't get more real than real. And that's the fun stuff. That's the fun stuff that I like. That's the fun stuff that I'm like, this is really cool. They hide in this garbage can, and then the tank fucking pushes it, and they don't know where he's at, but the tank is pushing the damn garbage can. They get out of the way, and that's enough of this shit. I'm not playing defense anymore. And goes off, and you stick on there on the ledge. You'll come and get me. Smashes through the wall into like the swimming pool or something like that, and that's where Ken Wahl goes, touchdown, asshole. That's why when I did like an Apollo, there's that really shitty movie Apollo 18, and I did like a little skit, and I made fun of a rock, because that's a movie where fucking space rocks come alive because they're monsters. I said touchdown, asshole. I got from this movie. That's where I got it from, in case people are interested, or people even watch this far into the video. And just a lot of stuff happening with them. But my main problem with this film, for me, maybe not for you, for me, is when it cuts back to where all the people have evacuated to, They're in this hotel. You got the guy, I forget his name. He played Ferris Bueller's dad in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was in an 80s film called Creature. He's there. Harley Jane Kozak's there. Robert Davi is there. And it's pretty much her snooping around, finding out what Robert Davi is doing. He chases her a little bit in cat and mouse. He tries to trick his ass. She gets stunned. Talking about his plan. That stuff really wasn't that interesting. And I like Robert Davi. So I could deal with it because I like Robert Davi. I like watching Robert Davi. But at the same time, it really wasn't that interesting. To the point of, I kind of want to fast forward through it to get back to Ken Wahl and Matt Frewer. Because that's the fun stuff. Because them being chased around Beverly Hills, they get in this like parking lot, this car lot. They get shot at. They get into this like Rolls Royce type car, and all the fucking cars blow up in the car lot, and they're being chased, and they're being shot the shit at with the vehicle. And there's like it jumps over these cars here, and they go into this parking garage. And that's where you get the Janet Jackson song. Really good song. I like the song. And the bad guy has a fucking flamethrower that's trying to burn the shit out of them, blowing up cars left and right. Before and after that, back in the Rolls Royce, there's these glasses. Before you get into the parking garage, they stop someplace and he puts some gasoline in there, again, for real Molotov cocktails. He's throwing them at cars. Cars are spinning up, blowing up, practical explosions, a lot of fun stuff with that. Throwing it, getting them on fire. A lot of fun stuff with the cool songs in the background. And then even to the point they actually drive like kind of on top of this ledge right into here, and they crash right through a floor, and one guy's like, is there another floor? And the other guy's like, I hope so. And they crash through again. Really fun set pieces like that is why I enjoy this movie. I like Ken Wahl, I like Matt Frewer, I like the soundtrack, and I like these action set pieces they have here. For a film no one talks about, you have some fun set pieces. And I like that the character is a quarterback, so he doesn't know much about guns. So he even gets a gun in the back of the car, and he accidentally, your main hero accidentally fires it because I hate those damn things. Because he doesn't know, but he knows football, so he knows how to throw. He's a quarterback, so throwing the Molotov cocktails, throwing them and them blowing up, cars flipping over and blowing up, people catching on fire. Later on, after that scene where they got to get out of the vehicle because it crashed through the floor again, and it blows up, because that's been caught on fire. From the guy, again, shooting a fucking flamethrower from the back of his like pickup truck. The pickup truck. And then fucking they get into this place and he gets ninja stars. And he's fucking throwing ninja stars in, into here or here as Epic by Faith No More plays. And he throws one, and you see there are two heroes going by as the car flips up right into a store and it blows the fuck up. And this car is blowing up, or this car is flipping over, and they're running, and the dumbass shoots one of his own guys, and that car flips over, and like our two leads are running, and as they're running, the car right behind them flips over behind them as they're running here, and the car back here flips into a store, blows up as Epic's Faith No More song Epic plays. I'm like, that's fucking epic. Scenes like that scene and the garage scene are epic for me. Because I saw this when I was a little kid, so if you want to play the nostalgia card, whatever. I said, there are problems with the film. One thing, I'm sure you could find a dozen things unrealistic about the movie. And second off, but I didn't give a fuck. My only problem with the film is that when it cuts away to Harley Jane Kozak and Robert Davi, they're not the most interesting scenes. Now, I don't mind those two actors, the actor and actress, but they're not really that exciting. They're not really that interesting. In a way, they're kind of pointless because you kind of can already figure out that Robert Davi is the bad guy, but you have to get that so that she needs to be saved at the end of the movie. But it's not really... I'd be lying if I said they were exciting. They're not. I really was like... can we just stick with Matt Frewer and Ken Wahl because they're really fun and a couple of nice lines of dialogue and a lot of again, explosions and Molotov cocktails and epic and Janet Jackson songs and garage and flamethrower on the back of a pickup truck and Molotov cocktails and throwing fucking ninja stars and then even one of them, the Lee Ving guy, shoots Matt Frewer and he lands on Ken Wahl and the dumbass tosses a bomb to them. Got a present for you, Boomer. Boomer wakes up, takes it. The guy's driving away. Boomer just fucking throws it right into the back of his truck. Boom, blows up. Then the other asshole comes by. Ken Wahl's able to take a fucking rock and just throw it right into the guy's nose. Right into his head. And that kills him. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess, you know, a hard hit in the head with a rock would fuck you up. Part of me kind of wishes he would have gotten killed a different way. But I'm like, okay, you know, I don't know how else, though. But, because you just had a guy get blown up, so how would you kill this guy? He's not really a gun guy. I think it would have been nice if he had one more ninja star. And he quickly, like, right in his head or right between his eyes. That's what I would have done, like, fucking ninja star. But that's what I would have done. But okay, he throws a rock. And pretty much, long story short, they commandeer that damn SWAT tank that the one guy had, bash right through Robert Davi's place. Robert Davi has like this bow and arrow thing, or like this crossbow, I should say. Before that, him and Ken Wahl like fuck up a couple of these guys, get to him, they struggle. And for the longest time, I didn't know what the hell Ken Wahl killed Robert Davi with. And then I saw closely, in the beginning of that scene, you see that Robert Davi has like a champagne bottle with a cork in it. And he takes his thing and he presses it down and he's able to open the cork like that. And that's what Ken Wahl kills him. Because I'm like, is that a thing that you pump with a football with? But no. Well, maybe, but it's what Robert Davi uses to uncork his bottles. And Ken Wahl puts in Robert Davi and right into... And of course, Robert Davi's character is like that type of guy, so I guess you're right there in his lungs. Well, that'd kill you anyway, but especially for a guy who can't breathe well enough as is. I guess there are a few critics who like the film, like this here, but I don't know what the fuck it says, by Cinema, or Kino.de, or Cinema.de, but I don't know what the hell these say. I know that says Non-Stop Action, Inferno. Der Film ist die pure Lust unter Zerstörung. Granatenharte Actionale. I'm guessing that's action thriller, but for some, I don't know what the hell. 4 stars. But the Taking of Beverly Hills, does it have its problems? Yeah. When it's with Robert Davi and Harley Jane Kozak, it goes away from Ken Wahl, Matt Frewer. I think the film does slow down. I think it would have been nicer to just stick mainly with those two guys. Mainly with them. But, you know, you want to keep Robert Davi as your main villain still there. But, again, not really much happens with those scenes. I like the two actors, but, again, not much happens. And it takes a little bit too long to get started. Again, you probably get to 30 or 35 minute mark before the action kicks in. And for a movie that's only 90-some minutes, that's a little bit, maybe a little bit too long. But, Ken Wahl, badass quarterback, some fun lines, touchdown, asshole. And what was the other one? I just said it not that fucking long ago. That's enough of this shit. I'm tired of playing defense. I'm not playing defense anymore. Matt Frewer, I thought he was a lot of fun. I think there was a line of dialogue. Can't remember. Well, I mean, there's a few I already said earlier in the video. But I thought they worked well together. And they were fun to watch. And just the chase that they go through where, again, actual fucking houses and walls either being crashed through or blown up behind them. Well done practical effects and some fun action set pieces in the garage scene. The scene where you have Epic from Faith No More with the fucking ninja stars. Molotov cocktail action. And it's kind of interesting in that the hero doesn't use a gun to kill anyone. He tries a gun and he fails, but that was kind of interesting. That's different. It's not good just because it's different, but it was interesting. Molotov cocktails, that thing they use in Robert Davi, the Rock, and throws a bomb, and ninja stars. I thought that was kind of interesting, different. I like Ken Wahl. I think he did fine for what he had to do. And plus, the soundtrack, Epic from Faith No More, unbelievable. The Janet Jackson song, which I'm just gonna get here because I know someone's like, it takes like 2 seconds, folks. Black Cat. It was called Black Cat. Yeah, Janet Jackson song called Black Cat. So I think one of the things I thought was Black Cat. Yeah, it was called Black Cat. That's the song. Jan Hammer does the score. He does a decent job on the score. Not my favorite Jan Hammer. That would go to I'd Come in Peace. I do think the I'd Come in Peace score is better than the score in this. But I thought the score was decent. It fit the film. Again, if you didn't have a couple of those awkward lines that seemed like it was edited for TV for cursing, which I don't know why it seemed like that, and if you spent a little less time with the Robert Davi, Harley, Jane Kozak, and a little bit more with the 2 main guys, I'd give it like a perfect rating, but because of that, I can't really give it a perfect rating, but I do think this is a fun, entertaining action movie. I think if you like 80s, 90s action movies, it's at least worth a look. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I think a couple of the fun, entertaining action pieces, soundtrack, and the 2 leads are worth a look at least. And I've seen so many worse action films. This deserves a DVD release in the US. For Christ's sake. For crying out loud. I would rather watch this than fucking Expendables 3 or fucking Escape Plan or Max Payne in my ass or even Die Hard 5. This is a better Die Hard movie than Die Hard 5. A Good Day to Die Hard. It is. And I have no apologies for liking this film. I think it is a fun, entertaining movie. Has a couple problems, yes, but some fun action. I like the lead guy. I like Matt Frewer. Good soundtrack. And it's not that long. It's around 90-some minutes. Maybe a little bit under 90 minutes. And it's cool that this is actually in widescreen. That's another thing. It's cool that this is actually in widescreen. Because for the longest time, I've only seen it on VHS tape on full screen. So nice to see a widescreen version of this. And the picture looked fine as well. But, and the only feature is, like, again, the trailer. Which, again, I had never seen the trailer before. I'm like, cool, I get to see the actual trailer. Not just the VHS trailer. But anyway, that's my review of the Taking of Beverly Hills. Thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.